What's up, Shmules? Welcome to Shmules Adventures, podcast action. I'm sitting here with J-Bone today, Justin, sound engineer. He's back. I think he's getting ready to abandon me. I'm going to be on a solo mission, guys. Yep. Well, let's get everything ready. Let's get we start off with getting our coal. Got him. I like to cleanse the air in here, get my stuff burning. We got some coals. Anybody know anything about kitchen matches? You know what these are? Old school kitchen matches. That's right. They used to have the red tips or white tips where you could just light them on your shirt. Squink. Got some nice music in the background. You out of here? When you coming back, man? Okay. You got to get the ox out the ditch. Okay. Bye, Rylan. Bye, Maverick. Okay. All right. See y'all later. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Man, just last night, old medicine man came and gave me some loblolly pine resin. I think you've seen some of it before, but this one here, oh man, it's mixed with some cedar resin. Anybody ever smelled any cedar resin? We're gonna let this lighter fluid or whatever it is in that charcoal burn off before we get that sucker going. Man, what's the latest and greatest on the Ukrainian war, man? Anybody know? Comment below, let me know what's going on. I know this much. I remember stories that my grandfather told me about Indian wars, and I read a lot about it as well. When the settlers wanted land that the Indians occupied, that was no holds barred type of warfare. I mean, I suppose the settlers saw a piece of land, they said, this is all we want. They made treaties with the brothers. Then they kept coming and occupied that space, and maybe there was what does Trump call the earth that they're using for making the computer chips? What's that earth called? What's his terminology for the good earth, precious earth? They want that ground. So it's opened my eyes a lot about how countries work. I just can't see money being that important to people. Someone said to me the other day, he said, well, why do you think those guys are 70s and 80s still in Congress and politics? It can't be money. It's the power, I suppose. So I do remember when I was younger, there was the Iron Curtain. It was the USSR. It was the Soviet Union. And it was like you never knew what was going on behind the Iron Curtain. And I guess they occupied land that is now in the hands of someone else. Something about the language not being authentic. I don't know. It sounds like a bunch of, I don't know these guys. Honestly speaking, as being here in America, the only thing I can really tell you is what the media feeds me. So you have to use discernment to read between you one story, MSNBC, Fox News, and I guess the truth lies in the middle somewhere. But I do know this, as long as when Putin wants something, he's gonna get it. He's been in office as long as I can remember. So the man wants that ground. I think he wants the Ukrainian race. Kind of like the government wanted the American Indians. At some point in time, they just spread propaganda saying, kill them all. They didn't want that race to exist. I wasn't there. All I know is history and what I've been told. And I can tell you what I see. I see all the natives on reservations. These are warriors without a war to fight. And consequently, they're not happy with where they're at. I fit in that category to an extent, but that ain't what we're here to talk about. So, does anybody think Putin's going to agree to a ceasefire? I know who ain't. I know Zelensky. He's not stupid. He knows better than to just lay down and let get himself, because they're going to kill him. But he's going to say anything he has to say to make sure he preserves his life and his family's life. I mean, I know I would. You talking about your family? We're in America. We are spoiled brats. We don't. When's the last time we had a war on our territory? Can you imagine somebody dropping bombs in your backyard? I don't think you'd be afraid to make a deal, knowing good and well all you want is them guns and security. Rare earth. That's what That's what Trump's calling the ground. It sure is. It's kind of sad to see this war and all this death negotiated contingent upon contracts and agreements for ground. Reminds me of the Native Americans. They signed countless treaties. Ask them how many treaties are being honored as of today. I think none. I don't think they have any land that's not barren. You know? Let me see if anyone's on this live with me. Let's see here. Shout out to Blue Skies Health and Wellness. Shout out to Wilson Mills Variety Store. Powerhouse Auto. Gino Jennings. Always shout out to that preacher. Great guy. Let's see. I need my sound engineer to get me some good topics, folks, to talk about. Over here on the east, we're finally seeing some beautiful weather out, man. And I tell you, the grass is growing, herbs are popping up, kids are out, people are out, they're on their Harleys. It's like everything's coming back to normal. Does anybody remember when everything was normal? Yeah, things are back to normal. Or is it ever going to go back to normal? I think in your office space, people are coming back to work, aren't they? I don't know. I know a lot of people are buying commercial property. I think to myself, wow, people are buying commercial property that normally wouldn't be able to buy commercial property, which tells me, should you be buying commercial property for commercial purposes? I don't know. All I know is when you follow the money and you do what the money's doing, that's usually the safest bet. I know a lot of people are ditching their commercial property. I believe the chickens is coming to nest. All that commercial property, all those dollar bills, all that currency is coming back. You know what I mean? If Brexit has their way of creating a new currency, and nobody, and what do they call the dollar? The euro dollar, the dollar bill was normally used for this petro exchange. Seeing as though that's not the case, all these countries that stockpile these dollars to make these business moves, I guess they're going to want to cash those dollars in for value. Wonder what that value is going to be when that currency comes back. I wonder about that sometimes. It'd be nice if we had some. I know Doge is supposed to be transparent. I don't know if they're telling us where in transit those dollar bills are at, how close to coming back to the banks they are. But if you follow the money, our president is a money man, and he created his own cryptocurrency. Is it possible that the money's going to? I think the only way the dollar bill is going to ever go anywhere, I'm talking about them greenbacks, is going to be a huge disruption You know, that pandemic, when we had it, it was such a huge disruption. They could have implemented anything during that time frame, which they did. They gave everybody those shots. I think those shots were some sort of programmable RNA sequential nanoorganisms that they put in us. I think they could turn each and every one of us into a damn butterfly just on frequency adjustments. Having said that, another disruption that would give the world a chance to replace the currency, no one would really pay attention, would be like a war on American soil. That would be crazy. Who could we possibly go to war with? Don't we get along with everybody? We over there talking with Russia, and Ukraine. China. What's my man's name over there? North Korea. And they have North Korea. I think they have soldiers on the ground. My opinion, all you folks who are listening to Shmules Adventure, it would be wise to prepare yourselves for the worst case scenario. Meaning, get you a little garden started. Start with something manageable, something you can handle. Start with, get you some seeds. If you look back at history, all the heirloom seeds have been gathered up. They're in huge, mountainous vaults. And try to get your hands on some heirloom watermelon seeds, or some heirloom okra, or some heirloom what's a vegetable? If you can get them, you better get them and keep them, because most produce now you get are seedless. I don't know, man. This country, in my opinion, is about those Benjamins. And then when it's not the Benjamins, it's power and control. So I think every household should have control of their household. You know, chickens. Get you some chickens. Chickens produce eggs. You can eat the chicken too. If you don't want to eat the eggs, you eat the chicken, because it's made out of chicken. You can't beat some chicken. You raise your own chicken, it won't mess up your, you know what a lot of men have issues with at a certain age is prostate. What do we all have in common? Well, we all eat chicken. A lot of people say, I'm not eating that red meat, but I'm gonna eat that chicken. You're talking about chickens that, I probably sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I know a chicken. I got chicken. And I got chickens that's almost 2 years old. I'm like, man. Now the 2-year-old chicken looks like she's plump and ready to eat, but she didn't get that big overnight. She didn't get that big in 8 weeks or less. If you got a chicken that's big enough to eat in 8 weeks or less, that chicken's been modified, Papa. You don't want to eat that lard. And that's why most women aren't the same as men. They don't have the same genetics. So a woman is not affected as fast as a man. See, all this stuff we're eating is modified, and it's not good for your body. But these bodies we have, these suckers were made. These avatars, watch, I can make this one do anything. Look, I mean, you got control over them. And they got all sorts of power, man. And these avatars we in, man, these things are resilient, and they will last. They can take a lot of abuse. But then some can't take the abuse. And the ones that can't take the abuse, the toxins that they're intaking cause them to have issues. For a man, you know, a man, when he's in his teens, he can stand on one side of the highway and pee all the way across to the other side. And over years, you might get where you can only get to the yellow line in the middle. And then after a while, you get where you can only get halfway. Then after a while, if you're standing on the white line, you can go to the other side of the white line. Then after a while, you can't even go over your belt. That prostate locks up on you. But I've done an experiment. I had the same type of closure. I said, man, what's going on? Where's my pressure? So I fasted for 7 days. After that, man, I could at least get halfway across the road. I said, okay. Then I started minding what I was putting back into my eating habit. It's that chicken, man. So do yourself a favor. Be careful what you eat. I was talking to a friend of mine. He was telling me about the family reunions that they had. They had a big family. They would always have family reunions, especially with minorities. They love to have their family reunion. And that's not fair to say. But this person happened to be minority. He was telling me about their family gatherings and how they would get together and everybody would have a covered dish. Ooh, and they would eat. They would eat. And this soul food, cuz pork ribs, brisket, barbecue chicken, potato salad, yams, candied yams, macaroni and cheese, ziti. Lord, it sounds yummy, dummy, right? Man, that's some bullshit. That ain't no yummy. Where's the vegetables? If it's green, it's life. If it's brown, it's death. That stuff might look good. It may be how we used to eat, but we don't have to eat like that no more. We's free. You can eat to live. Don't get the Shmules started. I feel myself revving up on it. Eating to live means you got to take it back to shed your brainwashing. Shed your brainwashing and let's do some thinking. Where'd we come from? If you believe you come from a monkey, then hell, you can eat anything you want. But I don't believe I came from no monkey. I believe I was molded from the ground. Therefore, if I was molded from the ground, I'm related to everything that comes from the ground. So what comes from the ground? Things that grow and produce seeds of its own kind. Therefore, if you want to live, you eat things that come from the ground that have seeds of its own kind. And you're best to eat it green. We used to be hunter-gatherers, man. We'd gather the herbs and roots and things from the ground. Then in the wintertime, we'd follow the buffalo. I mean, it's very simple. Living's pretty simple, actually. The conveniences and making life easy has convoluted it, you know. So when I sold my property and moved off out in the country, man, for me it was like, I was so relieved. But I noticed my sons were like culture shock. But they came around. Now they're starting to love the land, you know. And it's a blessing. Anybody have a garden? If you do, what are you growing in your garden? Comment below. Let me see what you're growing. Let's talk about it. Watermelon. Now that's a fun thing to eat. Oh, anybody ever grow any watermelon? I know a young man, that guy's like the watermelon master. He would grow these beautiful watermelons, man, and they were multicolored. He had 4 colors. One was red. Then he would grow these orange watermelons. He had these white fleshy watermelons. And that 4th one, let's see, red, orange, white. I don't remember what that 4th one was. Yellow. The yellow was so yellow that when he would he would actually juice those bad boys, and he would sell the juice at the farmer's market. And it was so good. But when people saw the yellow, they said, let me try some of that mango juice. We would laugh and like, this isn't mango juice, this is watermelon. They're like, watermelon, yellow. Man, a watermelon juice is so good. Oh my God. You go on a watermelon diet this summer, see how you feel. For all my brothers and sisters that can't see the damn belt because of that belly and you tote it around in the wheelbarrow, cut that shit out. Get rid of it. Come on, you know better than that. Good God Almighty. If you can't touch your toes, something's wrong. You ought to be able to touch your toes up until you're about 80 years old. Eating all that crap. Man, it's the craziest thing. But alas, you know, to each his own. People say I gotta die of something. I sure don't want to die of what the hell I ate. I can tell you that much. Oh, and then you go to the doctor. What does the doctor say? Ooh, you suffering from blood pressure problems. We're going to figure out a way to manage it. Not cure it. Man, you going to manage my blood pressure by giving me some medication. You're not going to tell me how to cure the blood pressure problem. You're just going to give me some medication to live with it. It's a business, guys. Your family. Oh, you got to go to college, cuz, and get your degree. Be a doctor, a nurse, so you can be a stand-up citizen. No, my friend, so you can be part of the damn problem, because that's what you are. You part of the problem. You go to school to learn how to be a business person and to be part of the system. You learn how to tell your brothers and sisters, I'm going to help you manage that diabetes. I'm going to help you manage that blood pressure. I'm going to help you manage all those lung issues you got and all this stuff. We're going to give you some prescription medication. Your insurance will pay for it. Have any of you doctors got outside of your own head and said, dang, what's wrong with me? Why do I take pride? Because they give me, you really a secret Sambo. That's what you are. The whole tribe loves you because ooh, what a success. No, man, you a Sambo, cuz. For real. Take a look at yourself. Look in the mirror and say to yourself, am I curing my people? Or am I prolonging their agony and putting them to an early grave? Really? Wait a minute. Where's my engineer? I'm getting off. Listen, guys, that's not what I want to talk about. That don't even sound positive. Or is it? Living a long life, ain't that supposed to be positive? That doctor is just trying to kill you. Hell, my sister's a nurse practitioner, bro. We tell her about the herbs we're taking out here. She said, ooh, you better be careful. Make sure you have some Benadryl handy. Man, and I understand. She really means it. She means it from love. She's not trying to, in her mind, I love you. I don't want nothing to happen to you, so I don't want you eating them herbs. I want you taking this Benadryl that the man made. No, you trying to Hey, man, I guess I'm kind of biased to these type of things. With you know one thing about a man? Adam and Eve were the first. And Eve grabbed some groceries that she was forbidden to have, and she gave it to Adam. And ever since, now this is traditional, not all families. Like a lot of men are taking matters into their own hands, and but as a matter of fact, just in general, a man marries a woman, and he depends on that woman. It's like, okay, you take care of the nutrition, and I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna get the bacon. I'm gonna tote the load. And that's what traditionally is happening. But I'm here to tell you, Bo, these women are killing you. She's bringing you pure tea death. If she ain't educated on nutrition, if she's doing that traditional stuff, especially the black women who love that soul food, they think they bring you some nourishment food. They're killing hell out of you. Woman, anytime you fattening up your husband and he can't see his belt, cut it out. Y'all got the golden ticket that'll make a man do whatever you ask him to do. Do some reading. Get up on your health and nutrition and save your man. And save your kids. It's just a matter of time before those avatars deteriorate. You can't live eating stuff like that all your life. Man, do I have some subscribers, some folks watching me? So I can shout y'all, let me see who you are. Let's see here. On a lighter note, Friday, Bosco Beach, guys. They're going to have a low-down showdown in the is it called the Glory Hole? No, it ain't a Glory Hole. It's the Bounty Hole. I think they're going to pay somebody like so many $1,000s if they can drive their unit across this deep mud hole. Bosco Beach. Justin, he's I think he went last year, and he's dead hung on going this year. I saw him yesterday. He's got his hip waders. They're getting ready to go sling some mud. I think it's going to be 50 or 60,000 people down there. That's going to be a good time, man. That ain't nothing like some good, clean fun in the dirt. You know, nothing wrong with that. Shine. I used to go ride them four-wheelers down there, but I moved on this Homestead boat. Good Lord, that thing will consume your life, but it's some good living. The only problem is when you got to come out and get these Benjamins to pay them taxes. You don't own nothing in this country. You're going to always owe. You can buy your land, but if you don't pay them taxes, it's a rat. Does anybody know how to own your land and not have to ever pay a tax? Can you have a nonprofit or a trust where you don't have to pay taxes? Comment below if that's a possibility, and I'd love to have a podcast about it. Because I bought some rural land. I love my land. It's crazy. I bought that land. It was not expensive. But that same land, in less than a couple years, has doubled in value. And also, all the major corporations are buying up all the land and all the real estate. Listen, when you put your house on the market, you'll have, even if you're a homeowner, you'll have 1 million people calling you. Would you like to sell your house? Shmuel, would you like to sell your house? You have a house over here in New Jersey on Dutch Road. Shmuel, would you be interested in selling? Hell, I didn't know I had one over there. Dude, I didn't know I had one over there. And they keep calling me. I say, don't call me. I don't own it. They still calling me, though. Those folks are calling me back. The question is, why are they trying to buy all these properties, Daddy? You ever thought about that? Huh? Well, I have. They buying them laws so they can wrangle up the American people and put them all in sections 1 through 12, like the Hunger Games. I'm telling you, man, you want to know what's going on? Watch the Hunger Games. They're about to round us up like animals, like cows. Good thing is you're going to get a good universal income. What, say $10,000 a month? Would you move into one of them apartments for $10,000 a month? I've heard them say you ain't going to own nothing and you're going to love it. Woo! You're going to love it. That's good. That's good medicine. Listen, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. They ain't gonna live in, I bet you the 1% ain't gonna live in that daggone section 1 through 12. I guarantee you that. And I guarantee you they ain't gonna eat that damn store in the damn grocery store. The devil know they're gonna be eating that daggone grocery raised on the daggone on the Shmules farms, but they're gonna be looking that daggone Dorper sheep and that daggone free range chicken. Anyway, man, that frankincense, guys. Does anybody know anything about frankincense? Get you some frankincense and burn it. Oh, you know what I was thinking about? Let's talk about the educational purposes of hemp. Okay? Hemp. Does anybody know anything about hemp? I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. I used to indulge in cannabis. I used to smoke some cannabis. Here's my thing. When my kids was little, I would buy me some of the best herb I could. Ooh, some of the best. And I didn't buy much, just a little bit. But my goal was I'd twist me a doobie and I'd hide it and I'd smoke in the bathroom. I'd crack the window open, I'd smoke in the bathroom. I say one joint is gonna last me 4 days. I take 2 puffs and put it out. I did that for years, man. And that was my thing with the cannabis. Then when my sons got grown, they were grown. One day, my youngest boy was about to graduate, and I was doing my thing in the bathroom, taking a couple puffs. He came in there. He said, "Man, what is that smell? It smells like what I be smelling in the hallways at school." And I'm like, immediately I went and lit some sage. He said, oh, okay, Dad's just burning some sage. You don't normally burn sage at night. And his mama said, just tell him the truth, honey. I said, what? She said, just tell him the truth. He's grown now. I said, I'm not look. So cat was out of the bag. You know what about marijuana? When you're not sneaking it and it's okay to smoke it, you'll find that before you never seen no traces of me smoking, period. But then when everybody knew, man, bud, you'd have ashtrays here, 5 lighters there. You'd have bud everywhere. And then it got to be not just one joint. I was smoking. Well, this was during the pandemic too, close to the pandemic time. One thing I can say about smoking that cannabis, when I start, it's weird how things happen. The cat came out of the bag, we started smoking grass at the house. And one thing about the Shmules, when I get involved with something, I go all the way. Got my daggone hemp license. And one thing led to another. So I love some good educational purposed cannabis. So, but I was like, man, and then when that pandemic came, we doubled down. I mean, I'd smoke a joint a day. Sometimes I'd smoke one in the morning and then one in the evening. But one thing I can tell you, I didn't get sick. A lot of people were getting sick, not me. So I recognize the value of cannabis. So I'd smoke that, but for me, let me tell you, when I started smoking it hard and the cannabis was getting so potent, I would tie a rope around an oak tree. This is a metaphor, guys. I'd tie a rope around an oak tree and I'd smoke my cannabis. And as I went down the spiritual realm of this indulgence, I always remembered about that rope. Believe it or not, I used to watch this one particular preacher, Gino. Even though I'd be in the perils of being buzzed down, I'd always watch Gino. And I believe by me doing that, my indulgence with cannabis was more of a spiritual, mental exercise for me. Now, other people around me, I was watching them smoke. And I noticed their jobs, the work performance, was slipping. And I'm thinking to myself, hey, when I talked to him, I said, listen, I know the world's upside down. You probably think it's coming to an end, but it's not. We have a job to do. I'm not going to tell you not to smoke that cannabis because I smoke it. You lose some authority when everybody knows you smoke, especially if you want to tell them not to smoke. So I said, look, guys, if you're going to smoke it, you better realize you're opening up some spiritual realms. Meaning, when you have decisions to make, remember, it's a spiritual battle. Don't let your mind play tricks on you. Because cannabis is just like any other medication, okay? But during times of stress, some people go to whatever they're involved in and they double down on, like if you're eating, right? If you don't do anything, you have no vices, but you eat. When stress comes and the days are hectic and there's arguing and pandemonium going on around you, before you know it, you will have eaten everything in the house. Now, this is without the cannabis, and you'll start gaining weight. But you'll get into a habit of eating without consciously thinking. That's not good. A planned meal is your best meal. But when you eat unconsciously, you'll eat anything, and before you know it, you'll be out of shape. Especially with the food you get in the grocery store, those easy to get your hands on snacks. Those really put weight on you. So, since I mentioned that, the best way to mitigate that is to not have that shit in the house. If you want to eat junk, eat it in the street. Make a commitment to yourself. I'm going to eat shit in the street. When I come home, I'm going to have wholesome food in the house only. That way you can regulate stuff. It's kind of like that rope I'm telling you about I have tied around that tree when I smoke the cannabis to help me stay focused on what's important. A lot of people don't do that. And it's hard to teach that because I mean, it's just the way it is. You raise your boys and your family to not do those things. Therefore, they don't have any prevention mechanisms in place to help them from going too deep into those situations. Luckily for me and my family, we made a commitment, guys. I think it was a lot of the things that happened during the pandemic, man. The pandemic was crazy, man. We lost a lot of important people in the family because of that damn, just the state of the world. And it made us take a step back and say, we're getting the hell out of town. And we did. And I wanted the rest of our family to join the fort, man, so we could build a fort. Because I believe it's going to be necessary. Now, I don't want to go down my conspiracy theory road, but I see it happening. Now, back on the cannabis. Let's talk about over-consuming cannabis. I noticed some of the other people that, once I started my cultivating, man, abundance of cannabis is what I mean, I've always been that type of guy. When I get involved look, when I needed some dirt at a piece of property I had, I bought a dump truck. Next thing you know, I got 6 dump trucks, and I'm doing it as a business. Any direction I go, I'm an overachiever. So I guess, or overdoer. So when I got involved in the cannabis, I took it to the next level. I grew 10,000 plants on a farm, USDA approved. Look me up, legit. I'm not endorsing cannabis. I'm not advocating it. This is an educational conversation about it. So I started consuming it, and I said, now, I used to tell everyone around me that was close to me, I'm not calling them out, but I said, one thing about consuming this cannabis, guys, I'll save that topic for later. But when you have a lot of cannabis, you got to, it's a medicine. Now, we used it to get through the pandemic. I won't say nothing about it negatively, but my family and I were starting a homestead, and I noticed the lack of, I got a lot of different activities that require focus, and the parties we were not focused. Things would slip through the cracks. You would do things the next day that you would normally do today. And then, too much cannabis, would interrupt your sleep cycle. Now, men and women, let me tell you something. When you were young and you say your prayers at night and you go to bed and you wake up, you remember how great that day was? You'd have the best day. Now, remember how it is when you smoke cannabis. When you first started, you could take a gummy and sleep so good. Ooh. But then when your tolerance built up, you take a gummy, maybe 2, you wake up with the monkey on your back. Like, oh, good God. The monkey on your back is extra weight. But as your tolerance builds up, you smoke more and more, or you eat more and more, and you got more and more of that monkey. Then the dizzy eyes come. You get those bags under your eyes. But given the environment that you may find yourself in, that cannabis is like, oh, you need this. Makes your day easy. You tolerate all that bull jive from everybody, so keep on smoking. Well, for me, I had that rope tied around that oak tree. And smoking was a blast for me. I got a kick out of it, to be honest with you. I'm like, man, this is great. But I got involved in the cultivating, and I only smoke the best. I mean, I really make it a point to only indulge with the best. Meaning, I'm old school. I had to see the bud as a flower, trim it, dry it, cure it, grind it, smoke it. But people nowadays, let me just buy a pre-roll from anywhere. And when that farm bill came out, man, you could buy cannabis at every gas station, which pissed me off. I said, I can't believe I went through all this FBI checking, all this shit to grow cannabis, and they letting them sell it at the damn local gas station at the 5 and dime. Them guys, they don't care where it comes from. Think about this now. Then they started the pre-rolls. Then there was a thing called Delta 8. Y'all remember Delta 8? Delta 8 was a formula derived from the hemp plant. Now, one hemp plant would only yield you very little Delta 8, not even enough to make an ounce from a whole plant intoxicantly. So where did they get this Delta 8 from that they were spraying? Man, they synthesized it in a lab, man. That stuff, people my generation said, oh, hell no, I'm not smoking none of that Love Boat, cannabis sprayed. But it became a normal thing here in, at least in this state, because it's, that was the only thing that was legal. And this state was Delta 8. I remember this guy had these Delta 8 gummies. And if you were lucky, when you ate one, send your ass to the hospital. And you didn't want no more of them. A lot of people, because they were so strong, they would eat those damn gummies and swear up and down they were about to have a heart attack. And they throw up and get sick. That's the lucky person, because they didn't do no more of it. But the other people who could tolerate it was like, damn, they strong. They called them suckers death by. You gonna eat some gummies that says death by? Let me get that death. Hey, let me get that black death by gummy. Well, they started buying them. Then it came out with demons. That's how bad they wanted to get buzzed out. But it was pandemic. People were going, it was just chaos in this country. So once the Delta 8 expired its session here, they went to the Farm Bill yielded a THCA. Hooray, THCA. That saved the day. Woo, THCA, because it's the same as cannabis. It's the exact same thing. If y'all don't know about it, comment below. I'll educate you on it. I know. But my issues are, I'm like, the cat's out of the bag with my family. We all grown. We all, self-medicating. Because you could buy it legally. But I noticed they were buying pre-rolls elsewhere. If you're going to smoke it, you smoke your own. You know what I mean? Or something that you source yourself and you roll yourself. Not nothing pre-rolled. Jesus. And then they came out with the cartridges. They put we passed the Delta 8. Nobody wants Delta 8 now. They put the Delta 9, which is THCA derived, in the disposables. I don't have a problem with a disposable as long as you can source it. The key is, if you're going to smoke, when we were growing up, you had to see it. You had to source it yourself. Old school people to this day, they're not going to smoke it unless they see it and roll it themselves. But there's new generation, they don't care. Give it to me, I'm going to smoke it. I recognize a lot of folks was getting their daggone products from Malaysia. Come on, cuz. You gonna sell Americans some damn shit from Malaysia? Excuse my language. You gonna sell the people something from Malaysia? Okay, I'm gonna do something about this. My family, I said, hey guys, let's try something new. And as being the leader of my tribe happened, I said, we're going cold turkey. I mean, you can't tell a grown person to go cold turkey. But the thing is, when you make a commitment to your family and you all stick together, the man leads the house. And that's me. You men, young men, y'all have a family. You guys lead that house. Meaning you set the tempo. You want your family to stop, then you stop. Show them how great gains you can achieve when you stop. So when I quit smoking, it really wasn't by choice. Somehow or another, I got sick. I got the flu. I was so sick, I didn't want to do nothing. Creator said, Joe, it's time for you to stop. So I did. And I didn't ask nobody to stop. I do what you want to do, but I am. So I stopped consuming. And I started working out. My work was getting done. positive things began happening. Because I'm telling you that any crutch is just what it is. It's an inhibitor. Cannabis has its value, man, especially if you have PTSD. You know, someone with PTSD, they want to escape. But just do it for a little while. But all along, make sure you got a rope tied around an oak tree to keep you from going down those dark paths, because the battle is for your soul. And forces, we're not fighting normal people, we're fighting dark forces. And if you are in that spiritual realm and you don't know to tie a rope around an oak tree, which most of you don't, you're going to be vulnerable. Meaning, if you can just put the cannabis down, if you're consuming. If you're spending your money on that stuff and you spend a lot of money, get away from it. Take a break. That cannabis is like, it's like a medicine. It should be used as sort. You don't take Tylenol all day long. So you should take cannabis. One joint should last you 4 days. And if it gets over that, you've gotten. The word addiction sounds terrible, but that's what you got. You're addicted to the cannabis. It's not good for productivity. That's just plain and simple. But if you have a good source of it, and you know it's good, and it's helping you with your PTSD, I would go through that PTSD, because some people are just have a lot of pain that they're dealing with. But a sober mind is the way to handle it. Sobriety. You know, as a leader of your tribe, if you show your people what you can do with sobriety, how much fun you can have with sobriety, you know, how much healthy you are, how you wake up early. Remember this, here's a good saying for you. Early to bed, early to rise will help you be healthy, wealthy, and wise. If you can, when I was consuming, well, like I said, I had a rope tied to a tree. Everybody's different. You got some people that can smoke it and still make A's. You know, everybody's built different. But all in all, sobriety, a healthy mind. So another thing I like to tell you, what I was talking about when you were younger and your parents taught you, if you were fortunate enough to have parents, they taught you to say your prayers, especially your grandparents. Say your prayers, little one, and go to bed early, and you do it. You get up, you go to school, you have a great day, and you couldn't wait to go to sleep again. You say your prayers, and you'd have wonderful dreams. You know, when you go to bed and you have a dream, like say you have a spelling test the next day, and you study for it, and you go to bed and you dream about those words. You're like, man, cat, C-A-T. You know, you dream about these things, and then the next day you go to school and you execute. That's because good things happen when you sleep well and you dream. One thing about cannabis, if anybody out there is smoking cannabis, now I'm talking about over a joint a day, tell me about your dreams. Can you remember the last time you had a dream? Seriously, think about it. If you're not dreaming, how are you preparing for the next day? You know, when you're an athlete, when you play football, to be the best at it, let's say you're a quarterback and they call a play, you should see that play. You should be able to see that play in your head. As a matter of fact, the night before the game, you can play that whole game in your head, in your dreams. Then when you step on that field, you're going to execute. These are your extremely, extraordinarily talented, gifted people. The ones that excel and are extreme are the ones that are clean, pure. You know, I don't know if athletes are advocating that, but I remember Muhammad Ali, he would not smoke a cigarette, would not engage with partying. He would just commit to his sport. So I know he would go to bed and see himself beating whoever he was fighting the next day's behind. Let's get back to that, guys. Let's get back to eating healthy, getting hydrated the day before, going to bed, seeing it in your head, dreaming about what you're going to do the next day. My friends, cannabis will steal your dreams. Unfortunately, it will. Overindulgence is not a good thing. I do support it, though. I'd rather a man consume natural cannabis than go out here and do anything synthetic. I mean, it's too many of us, too many of our people are on these prescription medications, man. I'm really pissed off at you family members that think that you're doing so good and that you think that you are somebody. Well, none of us, we're nothing but a piece of dust. You ain't nothing but a walking worm. One day you're going to return to that ground you came from. And all those prescriptions you wrote, you're going to have to be accountable for them suckers. Every daggone one. And that cannabis, well, came from the ground. Tie a rope to an oak tree. But don't be on it long. Remember, the Shmule cares about you guys, and I appreciate you guys listening to me ramble on and on and on and on and on. But I think I was called to do this and talk to the people, man. I got a whole bunch of other things I could be doing, but for some reason, the Shmule feels great coming in here today, talking to you guys. I be dreaming in my mind, getting up in the middle of the night and getting on this podcast. But let me tell you, to get this equipment right, you have no idea. You have no idea. You have to be a daggone sound engineer to run all this equipment. Everybody's different. You know, don't try to do everything. Whatever gift the Lord gave you, maximize it. Now, look, I'm going to dial back on this profanity because I know it bothers a lot of you, and I don't want to close nobody's heart and mind to the advice that the Creator has given me to share with you guys. So I'm going to find other ways to express myself instead of these pungent, heartfelt words. I'm going to clean it up because that's important. I don't want to shut no doors. I don't want no one not to be able to be impacted by somebody who's trying to help you. You know, I raised 3 grown men. They all went to college and they all got degrees. We can take those degrees and start a fire. If you're cold, you can wrap yourself up with them. Hell, if you run out of TP, you can wipe it. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. Comment below if you have any topics you'd like to talk about, any questions you want to know, anything you want to discuss with the Shmule. I'll be happy to do it. I'm going to get a guest in here pretty soon, and we're going to do some podcasting. We're going to do some talk about some good topics. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in to the Shmules podcast, okay? Oh, yeah, let me end it with some good smudging. Let's see. Some good, this is some good sage. Guys, I ain't gonna kid you. I asked my son, I'm gonna be honest with you. I asked my son to get me some sage. I told him I wanted him to get it from a native tribe out in New Mexico. My son got me some sage. I'm not gonna say where. And it's beautiful sage. But all sage ain't good sage. You ever see that sage that comes in a bundle, twisted with that twine? You burn that sage, you'll have damn nightmares. Best thing to do is get some wild pick sage. Now this is some good sage. And it's not necessarily the sage I wanted. If anybody's got any wild sage, and you're out there in New Mexico or any of these western states in the United States, comment below. Aho, friends. Yee yee.